So, where are my homies at? Man, I keep to my appointments. So, if I tell you guys I'm gonna show, I'm gonna show. The appointed time has come. You got the gist now. Patrick Martins is in the building. Shout out to you. You are the first to greet. So, good day to everybody. Let me adjust this telephone. Anybody that wants to see my kitchen, you can see my kitchen. So highest thing you tell me, I have a small kitchen, but it does not matter. It's serving its purpose. Now so now. So, Sylvester Obianke is in the building. Sylvester Obianke, good to see you. So, I see everybody. Catherine Feshi Umeke, beautiful woman. Catherine, fine name is that. So, today we came out to discuss the conflict in Congo. Many people asked for this. Jordan Sir, good to see you. Many people asked for this. So, since 2 days, a lot of people have been writing me, and now writing me, asking me to run a program about the conflict in Congo. You see, I wasn't aware of what has been going on in Congo until many of my followers began to, tell me to broadcast about it. So yesterday I brought somebody in. Happy Sunday to you, Catherine Feshi Umeike. So I brought somebody in and the person gave us a hint of what's going on in Congo. So many other people say they know a lot about what's going on in Congo. Congo is Africa. We are all Africans. We are humans first before any other thing. We are humans first before any other thing. So, and this is what I have been saying every now and then about the system we have in place in Africa, the system we have in place. I keep complaining about these African politicians, how inhuman they are, how inconsiderate they are. So, 2 days ago, I ran a program complaining about the inequalities and the injustice going on in many African countries. Yes, I complained about it. Somebody like me, I grew up without experiencing anything good from African governments. I did not benefit anything. The only people that catered for me were my parents. My parents fed me. My parents clothed me. There were times things went south. Things were difficult. The government wasn't there for anybody. In fact, if you live in Africa, you don't feel the presence of government. You don't. You don't feel. Do you understand me? Why should I be proud of African governments or African countries when they stood for nothing? That is, my mother died. My mother lived and died and benefited nothing from the country. My father lived and died and benefited nothing from the country. And you expect me to be happy. I benefited nothing from the country. Now, I struggled to travel to Europe, a white man's continent. I, a young boy of 23 years old, I struggled to travel to come to a white man's country. The Europeans showed me love. Europeans are taking care of me up to this moment. I experienced love in Europe. I experienced love. I know what it means for a country to cater for her citizens in Europe than in Africa. Than in Africa. Now, look at all the African countries we have. Look at all the African countries we have. They are rich in mineral resources. The countries are rich in mineral resources. But these mineral resources, this richness does not benefit the ordinary citizens, the poor ones. It's not benefiting anybody. Unless Akinola Abiodun Remedy. You that is watching me, the only people that are benefiting from the resources, the abundant resources we have in Africa, are the politicians. The only people that are benefiting go all through African countries. The only people that are benefiting from the mineral resources in Africa are only the politicians and the children. The ordinary citizens benefits nothing from the money which accrues from all the mineral resources. Ordinary citizens benefits nothing. And here in Europe, the wealth of the country is distributed evenly. Are you listening to me? Here in Europe, the wealth of the country is distributed among the citizens. You feel that you are a citizen of a country. The country takes care of you. Whether you are sick, whether you are hungry, whether you are homeless, the European countries, the West, takes care of you. And many of these countries have no mineral resources. The taxpayers' money is what they use to take care of the citizens. Man, each time I travel to Africa, I shed tears. At times, I don't want to say what I want. I don't want to say this thing. Because sometimes one tends to regret being an African man. You begin to ask yourself, what kind of people are we? Because the black man is cruel, wicked, has no compassion. Yes. Do you understand what I'm talking about? 1 second. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Many African people traveled to the West, obtained residence permits, began to work. As soon as you get residence permits, the country will begin to give you your benefits. you are now eligible to work. You are now eligible for social welfare. Immediately you get children. The government supports you, pays your children or your child. The government, the European government, your father, listen, you, the African man or the African woman that is living in abroad now, your grandparents did not build Europe for the white man. Listen to me. The electricity you are enjoying, your forefathers did not build Europe, did not contribute anything. Did your grandparents build anything here? The country you migrated to, did your mother, father, grandparents build anything? But you came here. Yet, European countries are showing you love. Europe, the white man is showing you love. You can access the hospitals. You understand what I mean? When you are sick, you go to hospital with your health insurance card, you don't pay. But in your home country, where you call home, you don't have such. Who told you? Listen here, who is the person who said, don't come here to say what you don't know? Africans build what? How many countries in Europe? How many countries in Europe colonized Africa? Austria did not colonize any country. Taiwo Olowe, happy Sunday to you. Austria did not colonize any country. I can name them. Hungary did not colonize any country. Slovenia did not colonize any country. Switzerland did not colonize any country. How many countries do you think we have? How many? When you talk about countries that colonized Africa, you talk about Great Britain. You talk about France. You talk about partly Belgium, Holland. Spain did not colonize any country in Africa. The rest countries in Europe here did not colonize any country in Africa. Stop making lame excuses. This is the problem we have in Africa. You don't want to admit your faults, your mistakes. You don't want to admit that African politicians failed. They are responsible for the suffering of African people. Do you understand what I mean? So, now let me tell you. I live in Europe. I know. If you come to Austria, they tell you we have no business with African people. You are not supposed to be here because they did not colonize you. You go to Hungary, they will tell you they did not colonize any country in Africa. What are you doing here? Only few countries, not up to 5 countries in Europe, went to Africa, colonized Africa. Germany, partly. Germany was only in Namibia shortly. Germany was in Namibia shortly. And that was all. Omodin, Simon, I see you. Now, I don't want you to come here and start, defending corrupt politicians who are responsible for your sufferings. I don't want you to come here. It's like this person, let me forget this person. This person is like drunk. This is a drunk individual. You are not making any sense. I don't respond to somebody like you anymore. You are talking about coffee. What is coffee? Let me forget this person. So, many of us grew up in Africa without benefiting anything from our various African governments. It is sad. You understand me? So, even a blind man can see African politicians failed us. A blind man can see that African politicians failed us. Now, we are here to look at Congo. And many of you have been following my page. We have been having discussions here. We have been running programs here. And I keep saying one thing. I keep hammering one thing. I said, what we lack in Africa is love. Even among our families, even in our villages, in our states, what we lack in Africa is love. Growing up, I wasn't shown love. I wasn't shown love. And many people, we were brought up, that is the way we were trained. We were trained with hate, beating, flogging, abuse, and was curses from parents. The last time I went to Africa, I was shocked. The mentality of the black man. Every small interaction, you hear curse and abuse. Any small thing any encounter you have with somebody, the next thing you hear is either they abuse you and they begin to curse you. Even in Africa, parents curse their children. In Europe, you can never see a mother or a father lay curse on his or her child. In Africa, that is where I saw a father, careless talks. You see a father will call the child, you useless child. Tell the child that he will not be useful. You see mothers lay curse on their children. Maybe that child is disobedient, or that child is stubborn, or that child maybe the child was making noise or hungry. Not only that, one of my friends told me why he decided never to live in any other state. I don't want to call them, except his home state. This guy told me, he said, while he was in Africa, I don't need to mention them. He said while he was living in Africa, one day he went to the market to go buy something, to go buy food stuff. He went to a woman. What's it called? All these people that sell foodstuffs. He went there and the woman told him the price. She sells her products, what the guy wanted to buy. So the guy priced, let's say the woman said she was selling her thing, €5. The guy said he had €3. The woman began to scream, "Ole, thief, thief, thief." Begin to call the guy thief because the guy priced what she was selling below her expectation or whatever. The woman began to call the guy thief. People gathered. Before you know it, people gathered and they thought the guy actually stole something from that woman. The guy told me it was God that saved him. They nearly lynched him. Just like that. They nearly lynched him for doing nothing, just for pricing a commodity in the market. Do you understand me? He priced the item, and the woman wasn't satisfied with the amount the guy wanted to pay. The woman began to, call the guy thief. Begin to say, "Thief, oh, thief, oh, thief, oh," he's a thief. People gathered the guy, began to beat him. They thought the guy actually stole something. It was people that were around that said the guy did not steal anything. Already the guy has received slaps, beating. People came to rescue him that he didn't steal anything. He only prized a commodity from a woman. You see the African mentality. We don't love ourselves. Have you seen it? All what we do is we show hatred to our brothers, to our sisters, to our neighbors, to our children. And that is what the government does to the citizens. That is what the police does to the citizens. Somebody told me why she decided to leave Africa entirely. I've told you the story. One lady told me, she said growing up in Africa, in Ibadan, she said one day, what was it called? A government official was just going, they were driving in convoy. I think that's what they call it. They were driving in convoy, many cars, escorting a politician. They were driving in convoy with soldiers and what's it called, policemen escorting a particular politician. One man was driving on the same road and they were blasting their horn. The man did not make way earlier. He did not make way quick for the convoy. What happened was the soldiers then asked the driver, the civilian, to park. This happened in the 80s. They now asked the civilian to park his car. The man parked by the side. This lady said they beat this civilian until the man collapsed. The man collapsed and was lifeless. As a child, she saw this and she told me she was traumatized with that. Said, how could she live in such a society? She said she ran, she had to run. She ran inside because she did not believe the man survived. She did not believe the man survived. In Africa, anyone that is in position of authority likes to oppress the poor and the vulnerable. It is when that is, they like to oppress the poor and the helpless. Men, the same politicians, when they come to Europe, you will see them adapt, mellow down, and respect themselves. They don't go with escorts. They don't go in convoy. In fact, they use public transport. The black man. Let me tell you what happened to me. One time I traveled to Africa. This is why you see some people say they don't want to go to Africa again. They don't want to live in Africa anymore in their life. We don't show each other love. Now listen. One time, I traveled to Africa. And I am carrying a foreign passport. I am carrying European passports. So there is a queue, a line for people with foreign passports, and there is a line for, people who are carrying the country's passports. Do you understand me? So I was standing in queue of line. In queue. I'm standing in the line of people who are carrying foreign passports. There were two white people behind me. Listen attentively. You need to fill some forms, all these things, quick. There were two Europeans and some other Chinese people and things like that behind me. an immigration officer. These white people behind me, these Europeans behind me, were quiet, respectful. They respected themselves, stood in the queue. Now, two immigration officers standing, either custom of immigration officer, they were wearing that immigration uniform, beckoned on the Europeans behind me to come forward in order to be attended before me. Listen to me. The immigration officer neglected all the black people that were standing before the Europeans. We were before the Europeans. The Europeans were behind us. We were standing in the same line, in the same queue. These immigration officers now beckoned on the Europeans to come forward, to jump the queue, to jump the line, and be attended to. You see that inferiority complex. Men, I said that will never happen. I told them, I said, it's a lie. I cannot face racism in abroad, in Europe, and come to Africa and face racism. I said, okay, you can't do it. I said you cannot do it. That man must stand in the queue until it gets to his turn. You see, this is how African people show themselves hatred, disrespect themselves before every other race. Now listen, how do you think these Europeans and other race will see a black man? Already, these immigration officers, they have disrespected us. They have shown that we are worthless to Europeans. That's what, I'm not worthless, but that is the impression. That is the message they are sending across. It is like that among every African country. When light-skinned people like the Chinese, the Arabs, the Europeans, poor Chinese travel to Africa, they get the best life. Thus, black people, citizens, don't get. This is the problem of the black man. They feel inferior before anybody that is not African. A newspaper seller, an Indian, an Arab, European that are poor, that have no profession, when they go to Africa, they give them contracts. They live in rich neighborhoods, snap pictures with presidents. Even the presidents will hang the pictures on their wall. They will snap pictures with governors, with the high in the society. This is the black man's mentality. The black man believes that anything white is superior. Many of the politicians, they believe it. They believe it. It hurts. I saw pictures of policemen holding umbrella for Chinese people in Africa. Policemen in Africa are errand boys. How do you expect these people to respect you? When immigrants, do you know what it means to be a citizen in your own country? You are supposed to be the master. You see a whole police hold umbrellas for Chinese people, Asians, Indians. It's a shame. Man, sometimes when I see it, the black man. Because you beg for money, you beg for peanuts. You disgrace your country, you disgrace your race. You do not know what it means to be a patriot. If you are underpaid as a policeman or, hey, if you are underpaid as a policeman or a soldier, you fight for your rights. You fight for increment of your salary. This is what Europeans do. That's why if you come to many European countries, they have labor union. Do you understand me? You fight for your rights. I discovered something. The black man doesn't know how to fight for what belongs to him. I do not know if I should call the black man a coward. Yes, I don't know because, see, if I show you my inbox message now, from yesterday to today, I've gotten more than 150 messages begging me for money. Listen, I've gotten more than 150 messages begging me for money. And these people, they have a government. They don't go to their governments. You see, they don't go to their governments for anything. They go to individuals. They are scared of the government. Many African people do not know their rights. They do not know how to fight their fights. And this is why Africa still remains down, because the citizens refused to stand up and fight their fights. Many of the people that are asking me for money don't know me. I'm not related to them. Your government is your physical God. Many people living in Africa does not know this. Your government is your physical God. Government is like your parents. They are supposed to provide for you whatever you need. That is why you pay tax to them. That is what they are there for. What they stand for. Have you ever asked? Many, you don't hold your leaders accountable. Nothing. You look the other way. Let me tell you. I live here and I've traveled. I've gone to everywhere. And I've seen African politicians, how they spend money. Many of them buy houses worth millions of dollars for their girlfriends. Sometimes when I stay, and these people, when they steal money, they use the police, they use soldiers, they use everything to protect and guide themselves. Their intention is to perpetually keep the masses poor so that you don't have the resources to fight back. Now, ask me, what has changed in Africa since we were born? Nothing has changed. Nothing. Man, sometimes when I stay on my own, I cry as a man. I say, why? When I came to this country as a young man, I faced racism. And the racism I faced made me depressed. At the time I started staying indoors, I was scared to go outside because of racism. Then I remembered where I came from. Even when you travel to Africa, it is worst. Nobody will show you love. The government does not care about you, does not know you. You are not recognized, don't know who you are. They don't know. Now, Europe opened my eyes. I don't call names. I saw these African politicians, girlfriends. They buy houses for their girlfriends in abroad. Houses worth millions of dollars, and their people. There are old men and old women who have nothing to eat. There are old men and old women who are sick. but unable to buy medications to treat themselves. When I watch videos, so many villages in Africa, man, you wouldn't believe that human beings are still living under that condition. Deplorable condition in many African countries that have abundant mineral resources. Sometimes it is a shame to be a black man. When you see the roads, you see the nothing. You ask yourself, the black man. This is why wherever the black man goes, nobody respects them. Nobody. Because they know you don't love yourselves. They know you have greedy politicians. Why were the colonizers chased away? Why were the colonizers, the Europeans, chased away from Africa? You said you want to rule yourself. The colonizers went away. Now the leaders we have in Africa became worse than the colonizers. The African leaders are doing now worse than the colonizers. They are stealing more than the colonizers, mistreating their citizens more than the colonizers. In fact, a lot of people are saying it would be better for Europeans to come back to Africa and recolonize African people. Though I don't agree with that opinion. Because look, I know, here, let me say it. I know how many politician children that bought houses and cars for their girlfriends. Politician children who have no business because of the money their parents stole. Politician children that bought houses worth millions for their girlfriends. And houses. Can you please close this door? And the masses are suffering. The masses are suffering. I've gone to clubs. And I've seen things. I have seen politician children go to club with like 10,000, 15,000 euros in their pockets. 10, 15,000 euros cash. 10, 15,000 euros cash in the clubs. Sometimes I cry. This is why you see, sometimes you see some people begin to agitate for a lot of things. This is, you see, sometimes some people, if you've not seen, let me tell you, when I was running business, I told you guys I have a shop. One day, man, one day, one man, the man was my customer. The man is late now. The man is dead. One day, a man brought a customer to me. This man brought a woman. I don't need to call tribe. Yeah. Just allow me. I don't need to call tribe. I don't need to call the name. The man brought a customer to me. It was a woman. The woman came to my shop to go buy something. She was good. She was a good woman. so to say. A politician, the woman is related to a politician. I don't need to call the country. The money the woman was carrying in her bag was over 25,000 euros cash. Bam. €500 bills. Did you not? Do you remember?
I remember now.
Do you remember?
The wife of politician.
Just hold on. Just keep quiet.
Yeah.
The money the woman was carrying with her there was over 25,000 euros. Cash. You saw it.
I saw it live.
The black man and people are suffering. People are dying of hunger. We have no hospitals. We have no roads. There is nothing working in Africa. An individual, that is why you see they fight for power. They fight for power just to steal. God.
Not just to steal now. Criminals.
My wife was there. My wife almost began, my wife nearly, she began to scream after they left. Well, we don't love ourselves. And the painful part of it is our home countries are in disarray. There is nothing to write home about. Many of us who came here as young men and women, we are stranded. Where do we go? Many of us are depressed. Many of us are suffering mental illness. Many of us are taking medications. Because where do you start? Sometimes a lot of people, I've seen people who took their lives. Africa. The poverty that exists in Africa today is caused by African politicians. Africans that you see running up and down as refugees all over the world is caused by African leaders. They have no love. They don't care.
That's why I'm happy trying to see they send their children back. Very good.
So, now let us go. Now let us look at Congo. And this is why I came out for this program. Let us look at Congo. I live in Europe here. In Europe, many of us feel at home in a white man's country. We are treated like human beings in a white man's country. Our rights are protected in a white man's country. Nobody uses police to intimidate us in a white man's country. We don't need contact to win our case in law courts in a white man's country. In Africa, you need contact. You need to know somebody to win your case. I always say the poor are oppressed in Africa. In Africa, if your father is nobody, your life will be miserable. The government cannot and will not stand for you.
Not at all.
Countries in Africa belongs to certain people. The country belongs to politicians, not the poor masses. And they say whatever, and they do whatever they want with their children. And the law is not for them. In Africa, the law is not for politicians and their children, their cohorts. The law is for the poor masses.
And they don't want to change.
They don't want to change. Because how can they change? Because that is their business. These countries are their business. That's their money-making machines. They steal this money. They want to build, make generation wealth for their children. If you know how their children are living and the money they have in abroad.
They are spending money anyhow. God.
Why should you call me an African? In the first place. No. Listen. Why should you call me an African? What has any country in Africa done for me? People died without the government of the country blinking an eyelid. Many African citizens died in foreign land. Many died in foreign land without the country even knowing, caring. We hate each other. In Africa, different tribes, the different tribes in the same country don't see eye to eye. In Africa, the different religions don't see eye to eye. You may argue me until it reaches election time. You may argue me until it reaches election time. That is when you will know that Africa still remains backward. Let's leave it there. I suffer depression. Yes. I suffer depression. I take medication for depression because a lot of us seem to be lost generation. There is nothing promising about Africa. From the system, the corrupt system, the hatred, the insecurity, the intimidation, lack of love.
Even some villages see they remain like the time when we left. See they like that. No impact.
People left their villages to travel abroad. 40 years after, 30 years after, the villages still remains the same. No single development, no infrastructure, nothing. No water, no hospital, nothing. When you come to Europe here, the villages, what you see here in Vienna, you will see in every state, in every village. Whatever that is obtainable in the capital city, you will see in every village. Good road network, good road network. Water, electricity, security, everything, social welfare. The prices of commodities are the same wherever you go. Today, many of us are living in European Union, United Europe. Many of us are living in Europeans decided to come together as one. Whether you are a black man, an Indian, a Chinese, as far as you live in Europe and you have European citizenship, you can live anywhere in Europe and work and be free. Now listen to me. These countries in Europe, they use the same currency, euro currency. You cannot beat a united race or a united people. You cannot beat them. You cannot compete them. The economies continue to boom. United Kingdom, UK, exited European Union, but they are begging now to come back. UK exited European Union. Today, they are begging to come back. You cannot beat a united people. Now, I told you guys, I've gone to many countries in Europe. Listen attentively. Now, before I go, I begin to address the issue of Congo. There are a race called Gypsies in Europe here. I don't mean to disrespect anybody. There is a race we call the Gypsies. In German language, we call them Zigeuner. The Gypsies. You find them everywhere in Europe, especially in Hungary, in Bulgaria, in Romania, in most of the Eastern European countries. They are mainly there. Listen. I met them in Hungary. I met them. They are spread in Europe now because these countries are now members of European Union. Listen attentively. These Gypsies, they are not originally from Europe. Are you listening to me? These Gypsies immigrate. They are immigrants. They came mainly from India. They came here, settled in different European countries. Today, these Gypsies are citizens of all these European countries. They are citizens of these European countries. We call them Zigeuner, Gypsies. They are citizens. They have been there for generations. They have every right as every other citizen in whichever country they live. And they are accommodated. They have their own thing. They do their own thing. They are accommodated. In Africa, we find it difficult to live together, to tolerate one another, to live as a people. We have so much hatred for one another. I just gave you guys the instance of the Gypsies in Europe. Many of you that are watching me, that are living in Europe here, you know the Gypsies. They are spread everywhere. Yes, they are not natives. They are not Europeans, but they are immigrants. Today, they speak the language of the country they are in. They are citizens. They have been there for generations. So now, yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was running a program. A lot of comments were popping up. People were saying, speak about Congo, speak about Congo, speak about Congo. On YouTube, on TikTok mainly, YouTube and TikTok, people were telling me, speak about Congo for 4 days now. Well, I did not know what's going on in Congo because I don't watch televisions anymore. I don't watch televisions because televisions make me, that upsets me. So yesterday, somebody also, a follower of this page, said I should speak about Congo. I said, well, I've got to bring you in for you to tell us what is going on in Congo. Now look at what the man said. Listen, the man said, during the Rwanda genocide, the war in Rwanda, there is a tribe, a Rwandan tribe, that ran to Congo. That could be around 1994. Listen, around 1994. There is a tribe from Rwanda that migrated to Congo. They lived there. They have have been living there, and a president, a particular president, made them citizens of Congo. Listen, the president, a particular president came and made these Rwandans, I don't know what they call Rwandan people, citizens of Congo. Listen to this story. And they continued to live their lives. Later, another president took power, a hateful president. So another president took power. This president, as this president assumed power, this president now stripped these Rwandan people of that Congolese citizenship. Are you following? Another president came and stripped them of their citizenship. So now, another president now is in power, according to the man. They are fighting now whether these Rwandans, these people from Rwanda are Congolese or not, after 31 or 30 something years. Are you getting the gist? This is what I learned from the guy that I brought in yesterday. Now listen. To me, Victor, I appreciate you. These people from Rwanda who migrated to Congo for generation now, for over a generation now, they are Congolese. I will tell you why. See, where you are born, where you were born is your home, number one. Where you were born is your home. Now, a generation has passed. There are people, imagine, let me give you an instance now. I came from an African country. I came here 30-some years ago, and I have children here. I have 5 children here. All my children were born here. Now they are grown. Now imagine, after a while, nobody lives forever. Imagine after a while, my children don't know where they come from in Africa. Their life is here. Imagine after a while, when we are gone, when we pass on, my wife, myself, and this generation passes on, somebody will come and say, these children are no longer Europeans. This is exactly what is going on in Congo. Now, for somebody who might come to argue me, how about children who were born in Congo, who don't know their origin? They have lost contact with where they come from. How about children whose parents are no longer alive, who know Congo as their home? African people think. There are children, they don't have any other homeland than Congo. Like many of our children born in the diaspora, they don't know another home. The children that were born in US, in Canada, in Europe, here, in Asia countries, in Japan, consider these places, these countries as their home. After a while, you see, African people, the world is watching. You are bringing shame to yourselves. So, anybody, are you getting my point now? Anybody that will come and say, these are Rwandans, what's it called? I think Rwandan, whatever. That person, what's it called? This puzzle is here again. Okay, man, this puzzle is here. Let me fix it. Anybody that will come here and say, these people from Rwanda that have been living in Congo for more than a generation are not from Congo, we need to have your head examined. You are living in another man's country. You get mad to talk. Well, I have said my mind. I've said my mind. We are humans first. You cannot drive away people that were born in a particular country, who established their businesses in that particular country. Their life is in that country. They don't know any other country. That is akin to what Hitler did. That is exactly Hitler's way. If you should, even we are talking about the same people, the same African people, black people. You see what we are talking about. The Europeans would be laughing at us. A lot of white people said black people cannot rule themselves. They can rule themselves. I saw a white man said African people need to be recolonized. African people need to be recolonized. This is sometimes when I watch what's going on social media, I've seen some people, you see among African people that are living in abroad, in United Kingdom, in different locations, in the diaspora, when there is problem at home, they will be asking people, leave their state, leave their country, leave their state. You are living in another man's country, working there, benefiting from that country, and you are causing problem in your homeland, causing discrimination, inciting hate, telling people to leave their state, to leave their region. In fact, you see these African people, shameless. If you don't retrace your steps, you continue to be the lowest among all the race. If you don't retrace your step, you continue to be the lowest. You continue to be a servant. You continue to be a slave. Somebody called me this morning. He said, many years back, China was in the same league with many African countries. China was referred as a third world country. China was on the same level with many African countries back then. The Chinese people worked hard, turned things around. Today, China is about to become world power. The world respects China. Somebody told me, somebody from a Chinese man, said if you go to China now, many of the villages, almost all the villages are developed, infrastructures. What they do, in China, what they do, they manufacture, they produce every 24 hours. They stood united as a people, worked hard, and escaped poverty. They say if you go to China, if you see infrastructures more than in America, more than in Europe. This person told me, Chinese people are now trooping to Africa. They go to where there is money. And they are using Africa now, that is indirect slavery. Indirect slavery. Or do I call it new colonization? That is, these Chinese people now, they are tapping African resources and building their countries and their country and becoming richer. Becoming richer. See, now look at many of the countries in Africa. I don't need to mention them. What the leaders in Africa are doing is just to borrow money. The only thing they know is to consume. Who installed these leaders? These leaders you have in Africa, each one that comes, what they have in mind is to borrow money. That is Many countries in Africa, that is, they will not be able to pay the debts they are owing in 100 years. They are owing World Bank, they are owing the Chinese, they are owing everybody. If you know the amount of... Oh, shit. They do not know how to generate income with the resources available in their country. And what do? What do? Immediately they enter, they gain power. The first thing is to begin to, they will borrow money. This money, they will not use this money to do anything. Build infrastructures, improve the lives of the citizens. They will borrow this money and they share this money among themselves. All the money they have been borrowing, where is it? Where is the money? These are the monies they borrow, share among themselves, travel to abroad, buy houses. If I tell you the money some countries are owing in Africa, man, if I tell you the money some countries are owing in Africa, the citizens we cannot pay it in the next 50 or 100 years. They have sold these countries. Many of these countries, they have sold it to Chinese people. Many of the countries you see in Africa, they have been sold to the Chinese. They are all owing Chinese people. Somebody is saying he can pay if you want to. See the black man's mentality. Why don't the Chinese come borrow money from African people? Why should you be the one borrowing money? Why are you the one always begging for money? I had Trump. Trump said he's going to stop this aid support America is giving to many African countries. Trump said he's going to stop these aids. This money they are support these aids they are giving to African countries. The black man, you are the one that always need help. Upon all the resources you have, you don't have that brain to improve your country, to improve the resources available in your land. Okay, let's go there now. All these mineral resources we have deposited in our land in Africa, all these mineral resources we have, crude oil, diamond, gold, all of them. If not the white man, it is the white people that came and discovered these mineral resources, refined them, carried it, refined them, brought it back to African people and refined it and sell to you. Today, many African countries, I don't need to mention them, even many African countries are not able to refine crude oil, ordinary to refine crude oil. They couldn't refine crude oil. The simplest thing. Many African countries, even they are oil producing countries, but no functional refinery. The situation seems hopeless. The situation seems hopeless. You have crude oil, but you are not able to refine the crude oil. This crude oil, this is not rocket science. Which other hope do you have? This is not building airplane. Hey! Do you know what's going on? You don't know. They extract crude oil and then put it in the ship and then export it to Europe or wherever. Refine it, then bring it back to Africa and sell to the people of Africa. Hey! Don't you know? They extract crude oil from your country. Now ship it, export it, take it abroad, refine it. That is, these many countries in Europe have no refinery. Michele, I see you. Many countries in Europe have no they have no crude oil, but they have refinery. Many countries in Europe, they have no crude oil. That is, they don't have these natural resources, but they have refineries. Now, African countries, what did you see? The black man. Do we actually have brain? It seems we are not. That is. And you still see African people say there is no job. There is no job. If the refineries are working, then you have jobs. You don't think. You don't hold your countries, your government, your leaders accountable. Where are the factories? Go to many African countries. I don't need to call them. They are not able to manufacture nothing. The only thing they manufacture in Africa is churches and mosques. The only thing African people produces is, mosque and churches. You go to Africa, churches everywhere, mosque everywhere. What they know how to do best is to pray. Yes, I'm going to tell you, it is prayer that you know how to do most. And prayer has never helped you. Tell me, the countries that are not praying, look at, come to Europe, nobody prays. Because that thing you are praying for in Africa is already on ground for you. You have it. Good health, food, medical facilities, food, security, everything you want. That paradise you are praying for, say you want, that paradise is here on earth. Europeans built their own paradise here on earth. Europeans built their own paradise here on earth. They don't need prayer. They are not waiting for any savior to come from the sky. Let me tell you now authoritatively. Let me tell you. There is no savior coming. Not in 1 billion years. No savior coming. Religion is scam. If you see what I've seen, religion is scam. In fact, religion is one of the tools they used to dominate Africa, to control the people, to brainwash African people. Keep praying. While the Europeans and the rest of the world are in laboratories, manufacturing, producing, and you are using, you are consumers. The black man. All what these leaders know how to do is to marry many wives and have so many girlfriends. Borrow money from the Chinese or World Bank. Eat African food. Buy houses for their girlfriends. Even if the country is collapsing, let it collapse. These leaders you have in Africa knows nothing about race pride. Just give me 1 minute. So guys, I'm back. Somebody said something. Listen attentively. Let me tell you. And let me share this. Let me tell you. There is nothing like hellfire. You were told lies. There is nothing like heaven. Heaven is here on earth. And Europeans built their heaven here on earth. There is nothing like that. A lot of people living in Africa are living in hell. When you suffer hunger every day of your life, you live in darkness, no infrastructures. You get sick. People die untimely deaths in Africa. You have no patrons as leaders. Insecurity, you are in hell. No good roads. Traffic congestion everywhere. That is poor. All what you know how to do is hate, show hatred, discriminate against each other. Yes, somebody said it's because nobody's holding them accountable. The black man does not care, does not want to fight his fight. They prefer to come and beg you. The white people don't come to beg. They say, you owe them nothing. See that mentality. A black man will go online. All what they do is help me, help me, help me. You go to your governments. Ask them questions. How? Sri Lanka. There is a country called Sri Lanka. I hope I got it right. About 3 years ago, Sri Lanka, the people of Sri Lanka couldn't bear the cost of living in their country, inflation, everything. They began demonstration. This demonstration lasted 3 months. Protest. The people of Sri Lanka, all of them came out. They said they want the president and all the officials, all the leaders in Sri Lanka out. At first, let me tell you, do you think these people that have tasted power, that are benefiting, eating money, stealing money, enjoying money, buying properties, driving the best cars, living life like rock stars, their children, living, do you know the kind of, they have nothing to do with money. Do you think they would like to relinquish power? They need to be forced out. They can never, because they know what they benefit. They have seen the money. Countries are like businesses to them, or for them. So the people of Sri Lanka said, see, it seems other race, or do I say races, are different from the black man. The people of Sri Lanka said enough is enough. They came out. That protest, some of you can confirm what I'm saying. That protest lasted for about 3 months to 4 months. The president ran away. With the cabinet, everybody, all of them ran away. They left Sri Lanka. And a new government was installed. I watched it. They came out and occupied the whole country. Went to the parliament, went everywhere. Said, no, this country belongs to everybody. Does not belong to any particular tribe or any particular individual. They fought for their country. They fought. As I was watching it, I said to a lot of people then, I said, listen, these people from Sri Lanka now, they are sanitizing their country. In years to come, if the economy improves, you see African people go there to declare asylum, to go ask for asylum, go begin to beg, look for Sri Lanka visa, go begin to turn to slaves. You have a country. You have corrupt leaders. You don't benefit anything from the country, but you don't want to fight your fight. You want to leave that problem. See, generations are going. See us now, we are getting older. You want to leave this suffering for your children, the black man. The black man. the Europeans, the Asians, they think for the generations to come. They think ahead of the black race. This thing you are doing now, this suffering, you want to live suffering. Somebody said, he rather die like a man. Tupac said, he rather die like a man than live like a coward. He rather die like a man than live like a coward. Now, if I have a problem, if I go through hell, go through problems, if I have a problem, if I'm suffering, and I don't solve that problem will be extended to my children. Which do I say, what love do you have for your children? You as an African, come to Europe, see European citizens. They are living in paradise. Nice environment, no dust, steady power supply. There is gas, good health facilities. When you see Europeans, everybody is glowing. You see luxury in their lives. You see good living in them. Go to Africa. So do you want to live this suffering for your children and your generations to come? The country is in the hand of some people. The money is in the hand of politicians in Africa. They are doing worse than colonizers. Some people, when you fail to do what is right, when you fail to fight your fight, you will leave it for your children. Do you want your children to live in darkness? No electricity. Sometimes, when I watch what is going on in many African countries, go to filling stations, petrol stations, you will see African people suffering. Some stay a whole day in petrol station carrying jerry can. They queue for kilometers, for miles. The leaders don't care. These are citizens of oil-producing countries. And all the countries in Europe, in Asia, you can never find such. The black man. I've been living here almost all my life. Any filling station you go, at any time, you fill your motor tank, you buy fuel and move. Under a minute, you buy fuel and move. The black man does not love his people. Don't love his people. Because, and this is what I believe is religion. Show your people love. This is not going to the mosque, going to the church, praying to, have you seen God? Have you seen Allah? Where is Allah? You will live and die and you will not see Allah. You will live and die, you will not see any God. But that man and that woman you are seeing, that is the person you need to show love. Than a myth, something that you cannot prove. Something that you have no proof of. Well, I want to stop here. Now, anybody that want to make a request, you can make a request and then I bring you in. You can make a request now and then I bring you in. And if nobody makes a request, I end this broadcast. I've spoken enough and I will keep speaking. This platform, I don't use it. I use it for every purpose. Yes, we discuss politics, we discuss religion, we discuss daily life, we discuss everything. You get it? Well, we are going to keep speaking. I saw videos where people are hearing our voices. Somebody asked, what is the solution? The solution is coming. We are spreading the message. This thing you see Trump did is for the benefit of African people. Stopping birthright citizenship. Again, we are going to use social media to stop these people from sending their children abroad for schooling. By the time they stop them coming to abroad for medical treatments, they will start building hospitals in Africa. By the time they stop their children from coming abroad to school, they start building, that's when they will start looking into education, public schools. If these things are, the black man doesn't think he has no love. If they don't stop them, if European, if they don't stop them from saving money, looted money, banking it in abroad, buying properties, they will not stop. Until all of us, until every African man, no matter your country, no matter your religion, come out and demand for this. Say African politicians shouldn't what is it called? Political office holder. No child of political office holder should school abroad. The people of Africa, if we stand united and demand for this, none of them, if you are sick, die in your country. If you are sick and you have no hospital, die there. If you don't want to die, you build adequate hospital. So what if Europeans did not build good medical facilities? What if other race did not organize their country very well? Where would you run to for medical treatments? You don't want to hear the truth. Until this Western world stop them from sending their children to school abroad, stop them from accessing their medical, even if you carry that, did you know? Many of you don't know how much these politicians spend on medical tourism. You don't know. Some of these presidents, they go with private jets, presidential jets. Presidential jets. They go park it at different airports around the world and they are paying taxes. The country's money. People that have no heart, they will fly presidential jets to whichever country they want to go and receive medical treatment. They will pack it there and they will be paying tax. If they are spending 1 month, 3 months, that jet will be packed there and they will be giving the country money. Hey, the black man. And the poor masses are hungry. And these people are religious people. These are your Christians and your Muslims. The poor people are no, white people don't do this. Europeans don't do this. They don't waste money. They consider. Let me tell you, where do I start, self? The black man. The black man. That person, that president that is in the, do you know how much they pay for medical treatments? If they tell you, do you know how much it costs country? When the president goes to another country for medical treatments, do you know how much it costs a country? That's why I told you, these leaders you have, these people you call leaders are no patriots. They are not. Until you get responsible leaders, then we can talk. Then we can talk. You keep wondering, why is your economy going down? If you know how these people fly private jets, chartered jets, governors, The state money, you don't find such in abroad. Whose money are they spending? Living luxurious life. These are people who are there to serve. Nobody asks questions. Nobody asks questions. What they do is, when you speak, they intimidate you with the police. They have the police in their pockets. They give the police orders. Something that is not obtainable in Europe. You cannot use police to intimidate a citizen. Even if you are the president, the law must take its course. In Europe, you as a governor, you as a president cannot buy the police. You cannot use the police to intimidate anybody. Here in Europe, nobody is above the law. If you are found corrupt, you will leave your job. You will resign. You resign. You know the painful part of it. How a lot of us, a lot of you that is watching me now, many of you are living in diaspora. You know the painful part of it. If you should go to Africa now, anyone who hates you can use the police or his political power to intimidate you. Yes. That is what pains me. They tell you they can do you anything. There is nothing you can do. Even there are some words a politician cannot speak. If you speak it, not only will you resign, you will be taken to court and you pay compensation. The police, the soldier, the politicians will tell you that they can do you anything. They can unalive you and there is nothing you can do. That audacity, what a country. How do we change these things? Is it possible? What's the worth of the black man's life? What's the worth of the black man's life? Until we begin to appreciate ourselves, until we begin to respect ourselves, until we begin to treat each other with respect. Here, I cannot have a fight, a quarrel, misunderstanding, anything I have. You cannot use the police to intimidate me here, not as an African. No matter who you, not even the governor. In Africa, it's all, I keep saying it is all about contacts. Who do you know? Contacts, connection. Nah, they will tell you, go and start looking for contacts. Who do you know in Africa? What a country. Hey. You that is watching me, would you want your children to live in such system? Would you want your children to live in such society? Tell yourself the truth. Anybody can decide to do you anything and nothing happens. You have no place, you have no arms, no place to run to. You have no place to run to. They can decide to do you anything, you have nobody to protect. The law does not protect you. As a poor man, as I said in my video, you are not equal before the law as a poor man in Africa. A governor's wife, governor's relatives, if you have a governor, politician's children, politician's friends, if you have issue with them, problem with them, they use their contact, their power, they give orders, even to intimidate you. That is Africa for you. Primitive, kind of a primitive way of life. Uncivilized way of life. You say we shouldn't speak. For what? Look at what's going on in Congo. That's why I came out now. What's going on in Congo? The same thing. Intimidation, oppression. A particular tribe was given citizenship. A tribe from Rwanda migrated to Congo and they were given citizenship. Another leader came. They do what they want in Africa and stripped them of their citizenship. See Africa. Another leader came, said, stripped them of their citizenship. Everybody does what he wants. What can you do? The next is they start fighting and human lives will be lost. The black man. They don't know what is dialogue. It is here in Europe that I learned that you use dialogue to settle issues. Here in Europe, you see Europeans tell you, Besprechung, dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. You go, the black man does not know what is dialogue. You cannot discuss with him. All what he knows what to do is oppression, beating. That's, man, forget it. He wants you. They play God. They play God. Even pastors. The black man. But one thing I love about this life is everybody will die. Everybody will go one day. Nobody lives forever. It is in Africa you see human beings play God, oppress their fellow human beings. It is enough the black man. They want you to use two hands. This is not culture. This is intimidation. Some want you to kneel down for them. You need to kneel down. Do you know what it means to kneel down before a human being? Do you know what it means? Anybody you kneel down before, you kneel down to, is greater than you. I've seen people, pastors in Africa, members of their churches will go and kneel down before them, before they talk to them. God. And these are people that call themselves Christians. I've seen videos. I say, who are these people? These are not human beings. So you see, the black man, heartless. Even you should use if you go, tell your congregation, if you are godly, godliness is in the heart. You tell your congregation, nobody should kneel down for anybody. Don't kneel down for me. I'm a human being like you. That is humility. You are not a God. The black man. But if you come, many of them go to embassies and beg for visa. You come to Europe, you behave yourself. You don't do it here in Europe because you will be penalized. But when you go to Africa, you exercise power. You do what you want. That lawlessness, you begin to practice it in Africa. Who are the leaders? Who appointed these leaders? Until we, the diasporans, begin to speak up, say enough is enough. These things will not change. Most of these people that are leaders in Africa, they are not exposed. We that are living here, we know how things works. I'm not talking about these greedy people here, but we know how things works. These people don't know. They are still backward in their mind. They still like to, see, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Well, Caseda, I saw what you wrote. Well, I have no answer to it because, man, I'm so stressed and tired. I'm so stressed. I don't like talking about African politics and African way of life. It gives me a lot of headache. We are way behind the way we do things. We don't, even among family members. How do we change these things? How do we? Let me tell you. All these churches and mosques, what role are they playing in the society? You have churches, you have mosques, yet the rate, the crime rate is very high. Well, I want to end this broadcast here. I'm tired. I want to end this here. I don't like speaking about politics all the time. It hurts. What they tell you is life is survival of the fittest. Here in Europe, nobody tells you that life is survival of the fittest. You cannot tell me that the strong should destroy the weak. Because in every society, there are weak ones. There are vulnerable people. You cannot tell me that the strong survives. They are even among families. So if life is survival of the fittest, that means destroy anybody that you can. Destroy the weak. Life shouldn't be like that. Because you look at me, there are people I can intimidate on the street. There are people that can intimidate me. When we intimidate anybody, everybody we can, then we lose our sanity. We become like animals. We become like animals. That's anybody you can intimidate, especially in Africa. People, whosoever they feel they can intimidate, they intimidate. You are nobody, they tell you. Because they tell you that they have the power, they have the connection, they have the money, stolen money. They can intimidate the poor. They will teach you a lesson. The black man, the black woman. And these people, when they come to the West, they become voiceless. They don't talk. They come to Europe, they see you, they cannot utter a word. Immediately you arrive Africa, they show you their power. Man, the story is too long. The story is too long. It is sad. Well, we are free in abroad. They don't know what is democracy. They don't know. We are free in abroad, do things, we are at home. We make videos, we criticize the system, nothing happens. That is democracy. You do it in Africa, they come after you, the black man. And he wants to follow the white man's political system. They tell you they are Democrats. They don't even know what democratic system of government is. Taiwo, that's it. Churches and mosques are not playing any role. Rather, they are making money from their followers. That's what I said. What role are these religious houses playing in our society? Even the whole system is corrupt. There is high rate of insecurity. What role are they playing? Do you know here in Austria where I live, if you are a church member, you pay tax. Churches pay tax here. And these taxes they pay are what they use to improve the life of the citizens. In Africa, churches, mosques don't pay tax. They don't pay tax. And many people establish churches as businesses. Individuals establish churches as businesses. Government does not care. Those churches are their private businesses. They rake in money. Nobody cares. And they don't use this money, all these offerings, all these tithes. They don't use it. Men, story plenty. They don't use it to improve the lives. They don't use it to, that is, improve the lives of the people around them. These are business people. These are business people now. I will tell you about Lichting Dunkel. That is Light in Darkness here. Light in Darkness is an organization. Millionaires, everybody pays money to this organization for the blind, the crippled, the physically disabled. This money is used to cater for physically disabled, and the money gets to them. Whatever they need, go to school, live like normal human beings, eat well, live, stay in decent accommodation. The black man does not care. Great. They'll be preaching the gospel for you, preaching this for you, gospel of prosperity. These are not godly people. They know nothing about. Forget it. Well, guys, I want to end this broadcast here. Well, my name is Roddy. I want to end this here. I've spoken. I might still go live. I'll go live later today, probably. I don't want to sit for a long time. So I just spoke my mind. I've not even finished. There are so many things I experienced in Africa, and I'm going to keep speaking about it. Victor, listing Duncode. Yes, you know about listing Duncode. You know it. Do you understand what I mean? Leaders are supposed to be humble. Leaders are supposed to be servants and not bulls. They don't know that as a leader, you are a servant. You are there to serve the people, not to oppress, not to terrorize the people. Hey, shit. So guys, I want to end this here. If you are seeing me for the first time, don't forget to go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube page. That's a way of supporting a brother. Go to Uncle Roddy on YouTube. Or you will see my TikTok. Go to the bio. You will see a link, YouTube link. And then press that link. It will direct you to my YouTube channel. Well, sometimes you want to go to Africa. A lot of people, you want to go to Africa. You think about how you provide your own water, how you provide your own light, electricity, how you provide your own security. And you don't have any hotline does not function. Hotline doesn't function. In case of emergency, you don't know. God. But I'm coming back. Story plenty. In emergency, this is what is called organized. Do you know what organized society is? In emergency, do you have any hotline to call? How about people in the villages, in remote villages? No hotline. Stella, it is scary. There is, in emergency situation, you have no hotline. Even if there is a police hotline, police number to call, the police will not show up. If you are in danger, who do you call? The ambulance does not work. Hi. Well, guys, let me stop here. If you are seeing me for the first time, those that are seeing me for the first time, follow this page. This is how we roll. We don't make problem. We are a non-violent group of people. We only create awareness, and we aspire to do what is right. Stella said you are on your own in Africa, completely on your own. You are on your own. If anything happens to you, you are on your own. Well, it's scary. That's why some people pray. Whenever they want to go to Africa, you see them fast and pray. God, please. I saw a lot of people who went home for Christmas. As they came back, they were rejoicing, thanking God for bringing them back safely. That harm did not, they prayed, they were happy. Harm did not befall them. Harm did not befall them. Well, so, man, I only ate egg in the morning. I ate egg in the morning, egg and bread. So, I want to eat now. I don't want to eat late. And that's it. Everybody knows it. The thing is, even call the police. The police, if they know you are from abroad, they will take all the money you have on you. All the money you have with you. That, I once tell somebody, I want to call police for one contractor. He said, don't call police. He said, the money you will spend. well, well, so many people watching. So let me end here. I want to take, I'm coming back. They'll take your money. Stella Wumi. The story too long. Well, let me take a break and I'll be back later. Let me take a break and I'll be back later. We are all bored and depressed here. And we come from a home. That we came from somewhere. We are not in works. It's a shame. So, I will be back after taking a break, after eating. I'll be back again for round 2. Yes, I'll be back for round 2. So guys, take care.